Welcome to Inspired. I'm Alexa Von Tobel. While the world debates AI's impact, a quiet revolution is brewing in laboratories across the country that can make today's most powerful computers look like pocket calculators. I'm talking about quantum computing. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Jeff Thompson, one of the world's most foremost quantum experts. From Yale to Harvard to MIT to Princeton, Jeff has spent his entire career at the epicenter of quantum research. With thousands of citations and multiple prestigious awards, he represents the absolute pinnacle of scientific achievement. He is also the founder of Logiqal, where he's building the first scaled quantum computer and deploying millions of qubits to tackle the world's most important problems. I'm really proud that Inspired Capital is backing him as he takes on this breakthrough moment. In this episode, you'll understand what quantum actually is, what makes quantum computing fundamentally different from other computing, how Jeff is approaching this breakthrough moment, and how Logical could transform entire industries from healthcare to material sciences. Truly, quantum could change the world as we know it. This is your guide to the future of quantum computing. Let's welcome Jeff.
If you're running a startup, we know things like managing equity and communicating with investors are always top of mind. Carta has built a connected suite of tools that over 40,000 companies use to do just that. Their platform of software and services helps you lay the groundwork so you can focus on building. To learn more or get started, visit carta.com. Jeff, first, I'm thrilled to get to have you here today. I'm also thrilled that I've gotten to get to know you over the last many months. So welcome. And I want to start from the beginning, which you're for sure for me one of the most interesting founders. And I want to go back to kind of your childhood. I knew you grew up in Houston. Um, when do you think you knew that you were this interested in physics? Like, if you go back to your childhood and draw a straight line, is there something that really stands out that kind of helps you be like, yeah, that made sense then because I did this thing? Or how would you describe that? You really have such a stunning education from I don't I almost feel like you've hit almost every single ivy almost. You were at Yale for undergrad with a degree in physics, and then you deep camped for atomic physics work in Germany. You then led back stateside, Harvard for your doctorate, then MIT for your postdoctorate fellow, and now onward to Princeton as a professor. Just walk us through a little bit about your love of learning, your love of education, and what drove you through those many chapters. Like, nothing, you kept going when many people would have said, okay, I'm educated enough. Talk about that. Where do you think that curiosity, where does it come from? Is it an interest in what can be changed? Is it just an interest in literally problem solving? Describe that because you really are unique in that in so many ways, Jeff. You arrived at Princeton in 2016. Um, what vision did you have for the lab that you wanted to create then? Jeff, that's one of the things as I've gotten to know and observe you, I've been really impressed by is this incredible resilience that is innate in everything you've done the last 20 years. Um, you said something to me that really stood out, which is that, experiments fail all the time in science and you have to continue to keep going and working through them. What in your mindset makes that just almost effortless for you? Because if we had to quantify how many, failed things that you've seen in a lab or something that didn't work as you precisely expected, I'm sure the number is massive. Explain that mindset. That's a really interesting way to look at it, which is failure helps make your next experiment even better. I like that a lot. Um, so you and our paths crossed because about a year ago, I started getting extremely interested in quantum computing, and I was learning every single thing I could and talking to every single person who wanted to take a meeting with me. And I was thrilled when I met you. And I would just love for everyone listening, as one of the world's best experts in quantum, can you just explain to everyone that's interested, has heard about it, what is quantum computing, and can you compare it as compared to classical computing? Just let's start there. So, as you first of all, really well said, which is it's a superior state. And as people think about where we are in, it's today is September 3rd of 2025. Where are we in your mind as somebody who's been touching the category for decades? Where are we in the landscape in your mind? How do you describe? That's really well said. For multiple decades, and as you know, I've chatted with many, many experts. People have been saying like it's coming soon. The first quantum computer is coming soon. My question for you is: first of all, what qualifies as a quantum computer in your mind? How many qubits is that? And when you say coming soon, what does that mean to you? Yes. Yep. So, but my understanding, we're currently at roughly 200 qubits for the quantum computers that have been made. The goal, and I think specifically your goal is 10,000 qubits. Um, what is like? Help me get a sense of in your mind when value begins to create. Um, is it 500,000 qubits? Is it 100,000 qubits? I know it people wanna get to 1,000,000 qubits. We're at 200, 10,000 is the next sort of milestone. Can you just explain that in sort of plain English to people of, like, how the number of qubits is the milestone? Got it. Very well said. Um, I want to kind of step back. I think just to kind of lay the land for people. There's many different types of hardware approaches to developing the first scaled quantum computer. Um, Depending on how you cut it, there's between six or seven, and many different approaches with very strong opinions. Um, can you explain some of the key approaches and why you are building using neutral atoms? And like for you, I think you strongly believe that is the only and best chance to really build a scaled quantum computer. Just give us a quick overview of that for people learning. This is the Princeton professor, Quantum 101. Cool. Cool. First of all, that was such a fun way to listen to the different types of hardware. You are pioneering with ytterbium. And can you repeat what you once told me, which is why you think ytterbium is the right atom to build qubits with? How abundant is ytterbium? So effectively, you have all that you need to be able to do everything you want to with Logical. Jeff, before we talk a little bit about Logical and the company that you're building, I want to quickly discuss one thing that I want you to explain to everybody, which is Rydberg gates. You've made abundant discoveries in this category. What are they? Wow, that's incredible. So you can turn it on and off as needed as you think about building. Um, First of all, thank you for explaining that. I want to transition to Logical. I met you when you were on the brink of starting Logical. Uh, what made you decide that it was time to go all in and attempt this huge feat? so fun to see the smile on your face as like this is the challenge of a lifetime and that you've just embarked upon it. Um, let's talk a little bit about what quantum can unlock, right? Because for everyone listening, I almost view quantum as the layer directly after AI in terms of the next frontier of innovation that we will see. And having spent a lot of time learning what quantum can unlock can be incredibly profound. And I would just love to get a sense of painting a picture of what in your head, what can you see? What can you imagine of what could happen if and when Logical builds the first scaled quantum computer? Let me repeat that back to you in plain English, which is two of the places that you're most interested in seeing what can be unlocked with quantum computing is material sciences and pharmaceuticals. I think one sentence somebody said to me was person who owns and creates the first quantum computer almost overnight could become Pfizer, which obviously is a bit of hyperbole, but makes the point of if you have ultimate ability to run more simulations faster, to some degree, extensive um, algorithms that are not even comprehensible by a classical computer, we can create the drugs that we need much faster and elongate life. We can create material sciences. What does that mean? Different types of plastic, better materials for the world, to create materials that we need to get to Mars etc. So, really, to your point, using quantum computers on physical science in ways that we actually push the boundaries of innovation. Did I say that decently well? In your mind, is that 5 years out, 15 years out, 25 years out? You don't have to give a perfect, but maybe a range. That's awesome. And let's talk just a little bit about how quantum changes the trajectory of Gen AI. Some people have questioned whether AI undercuts scientific simulation use cases for quantum. Just really clearly, your thoughts on that. That's well said. In some plain basic sense, the way I think about it is quantum computers millions of times stronger than anything that we've seen. And so what it can do can be profound, particularly in cryptography and material sciences, logistics, financial services. And again, if we had more time today, I would push us to talk about what it means for financial services and how it changes markets. If the whole point of having a market is to have an edge on a minor computational advantage, and if you have quantum computers, what does that mean? So there's just oh, go ahead, Jeff. Okay, really well said. Um, I'm going to just end on a few questions that I'm really excited to ask you, which is, what are you most excited about? Like, you wake up every day. You clearly have the ambition to go build at Logical the first quantum computer. You have all of the education and heft and team and co-founders to go make that happen. What are you most jazzed about right now, Jeff? That's so exciting. I want to end on just a quick fire round. Jeff, is there a book that you've read in your life that you think left one of the biggest impacts on you? What was it? I love that you're not the only founder that I've had the opportunity to get to work with who reads history books as inspiration because I think it sort of creates a scaffolding for how to solve big problems. My last question, just knowing how mission oriented you are and how much you deeply, deeply care about what you're building and seeing it to fruition, we're going to end on what's one thing in the quantum space that you feel like people can be optimistic on? Jeff, I just want to end by saying thank you so much for your time. It has been such a pleasure to get to know you. I am blown away by your ambition and your commitment and your humanity towards what you care about building. And I feel really lucky to get to be on the journey. But just most of all, we're rooting for you. So thank you so much for what you're doing for humanity.
Thanks so much for joining today. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and rate or share. We welcome all feedback, and I'll be back soon with another episode of Inspired with Alex Von Tobel. Thanks so much.